all know what a big-time quarterback he is. But I'm going to remind everybody, Molly, he came on with us Super Bowl week, right on first day, and called out the Bengals, called out the organization. I need Jamar Chase here. I need T. Higgins back. We need Trey Hendrickson back. He said it by name. We need those three. And give Cincinnati credit for going out and finding a way to get it done. But I don't believe it happens if Joe Burrow doesn't open his mouth and mandate it, because he is Cincinnati. By the way, right now, he is Ohio when it comes to quarterbacks, because they don't have another one. Okay? So I'm just telling you, the brother, give him credit where credit is due. Not many people in his position would be as outspoken as he was against the organization in mandating what was needed in order for them to be competitive. Now he's got to go out and win in the first 2 weeks of the season instead of being 1-11.
They've been terrible.
They've been first. You got to go out and win.
That's been an
credit where credit is due.
All right, they pushed all the chips in here. Top AFC threat?
I think there's tiers to this. Like I always say, there's levels to this. There's tiers to this.
Tell me.
I don't have them in. I think there's 4 teams in the AFC better right now. Okay, I got the Kansas City Chiefs, got the Baltimore Ravens, got the Buffalo Bills, I got the Denver Broncos. I'm gonna keep tooting my horn about the Denver Broncos. I think the Denver Broncos. I think the Denver Broncos are here.
We keeping the tape.
The Denver. Please do.
We keep
please
the
do.
Keep
the Denver Broncos are here. I think the Denver Broncos arguably had the best defense in the league. Bo Nix, who came on it in the last year, going into his second year. Usually players, go make their biggest jump from year 1 to year 2. You got one of the best play callers, coaches in the National Football League, Sharpe. He has weapons on offense. Got one of the best offensive lines. Everything is set up, in my opinion, for Bo Nix to really introduce himself to the national public that we are here.
Can they win the AFC West?
They can. I don't think they will, but they can.
Let me say this, because this is a question out there. I want to throw this out to both of y'all real quick. I get where you're coming from. But when we're asking that question about the Cincinnati Bengals, because everybody can't, you don't have to play everybody. Like those 4 teams. So somebody going to run into somebody come play all the time. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, Cincinnati got to play all of them.
Yeah.
You understand? Somebody going to run into somebody. Can Cincinnati knock off somebody with that offense? Hell to the yes. Yes, they can. With that firepower, no. If your defense is middle of the road, if your defense is the 20th ranked defense in the league, you could possibly win 2 to 3 more games if you're the Cincinnati Bengals with that offense.
You might be asking a lot of that defense, okay? This is the same Cincinnati team that has a losing record last year when they scored 33 points.
I agree with that.
3 and 4. Think about that. How crazy that is.
Damn it, they would have been 0-7 if they didn't have it. If they didn't score that. You understand? The point is, you're talking about a team that can put up 30 in their sleep. Can't ignore that. Can't ignore that.
As bad as the defense was last year, really the culprit to the season, what robbed them of their playoff hopes, was the slow start.
Yeah.
They have gotten out to a slow start every single year. And you'll notice this year in the preseason, the regular guys playing. Joe Burrow didn't play in the preseason before. Jamar Chase didn't play in the preseason before. T. Higgins didn't play in the preseason. They're out there this summer because Zach Taylor, the head coach, obviously wants to try something different to get them ready to avoid the type of start that's derailed their season in recent years.
This might be breaking news here. Is that your way of saying, Adam Schefter, that you agree with moi when I've religiously stated that there should be an investigation into the coaching staff of the Cincinnati Bengals and what they're doing in the offseason and in preseason, because damn it, they can't win games in the first 2 games of 2 weeks of the season 6 straight years. They are 1-11 in the first 12 games, meaning the first 2 games of the last 6 seasons. They are 1-11.
Right.
What are you doing that you can't win games first 2 weeks of the season with these kind of studs? I mean, I'm just asking.
Well, I'm going to say this, though. I'm going to say this. If you look at the Cincinnati Bengals over the past few years, I think a big part of that reason, the quarterback has been hurt in training camp.
Yeah.
Think about everything Joe Burrow's been deling with in training camp. He had the calf situation. He had the appendix situation, the thumb injury. Like, all those things, like, you start off training camp, you have that going on, then it just leads right
last year.
Right, exactly. It just bleeds right into the regular season.
We got to leave it there, but they have Hendrickson, 57 sacks over the last 4
And
seasons.
essentially, we are about the timing. And Cincinnati always balked at paying him into 2026. And Trey Hendrickson wanted a certain amount of guaranteed money. They found a solution to essentially placate both sides. Trey Hendrickson gets a $14 million raise for this season. You don't see that. No added years onto the deal, but lots of added money. He now can become a free agent after this year. The Bengals still can tag him, but Trey Hendrickson boosted his salary this season up to $30 million, putting his numbers more in line with the other top pass rushers. And again, there have been a lot of bent feelings, hurt feelings between these two sides. And with under 2 weeks to the opener, they put aside their differences and figured out a solution.
And Greeny, if they do tag him, based on the structure of the deal, approximately that's $34.8 million, substantially above what the collective bargaining agreement has for a franchise tag for a defensive end. So that's another win for Trey Hendrickson. Again, it's a Band-Aid, not ideal for either side because he's a free agent at the end of the year. Trey Hendrickson doesn't get the massive guarantee, but he's now at least gets a big raise. And if I'm the Bengals, I'm saving $11 million from where TJ Watt is. So to me, not ideal, but a great Band-Aid for the season.
He was the best player on what was candidly a terrible defense last year. The little bit we've seen in the preseason, for whatever that's worth, has not looked any better. Of course, he hasn't been playing in it. What do you think this Bengals team can do with this high-flying offense and a really questionable defense?
Well, I think much of it is predicated on how well some of these younger guys on the defense develop. If those guys and the new defensive coordinator Al Golden, if those guys can turn the corner, you bring back Trey Hendrickson. If this defense can be average, Greeny, we're talking about the Bengals being one of these teams that's competing with the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs in the AFC. But they need these guys to develop and develop fast this year.
The stat that I can never get my mind around, they had a losing record last year in games in which they scored 33 points or more.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to do. They were 3-4 in games in which they themselves scored 33 points.
Right, but if the legendary Bill Walsh was here, what he would talk about is fourth quarter pass rushers. If we score 33 points, we should win. We drafted Shamar Stewart. We got Trey Hendrickson back. They have a real chance now to close out games.
See if they can do it. And the last one, of course, is the Cowboys. That hold-in